Anybody who is just logging on, welcome to today's class, and anybody watching this recording, just to make sure, today's class is going to be going over the team platforms. So what that means, if you are not associated with a team, you will not have access to what we are going over today. If you are set up as an individual agent and you're either in the process of starting a team, or if you are just waiting for your team platforms to be live, you will eventually have access to these. However, if you're practicing real estate specifically as an individual agent, these are platforms that are only provided to teams within Command. So again, everything that we are doing today, I'm going to be going through the Command portal. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. If you are set up as an agent on a team versus a rainmaker on a team, you may see some differences. I am going to be doing the entire class through a rainmaker's account, so I do have unlimited access to absolutely everything. That being said, I'm also going to go over permissions. So if there are certain things that you may need access to, if you're set up as like a transaction coordinator for the team, or you're going to be primarily handling team marketing, anything along those lines, there are ways to adjust your permissions so you have access to the sections you need. And we're going to go over how to kind of set all of that up as well. So I'm going to pull everything up. Perfect. So in order to kind of get the class started, the first thing I want to go over is going to be your settings. So in order to access those, on the top right-hand corner, you guys are going to see your name. When we click on this, as long as you're seeing two profiles, one as personal and one as your team, that means that your team platform is live. It means that you officially have access to team functions and you're essentially good to go. If you are a brand new team and you maybe just got set up, the team platforms do take 72 hours in order to go live. So don't panic if you're not seeing this yet. Chances are it's just a timing delay. But as long as you guys are seeing these two profiles, we are going to go ahead and click on our settings option. As far as the entire settings platform under Teams, this is something that our other Teams class does cover, which is hyperlinked in the notes below, and I'll also drop it in the bio for the YouTube clip. That way you guys have access to it if you're watching the recording. But I do want to address today, once we go to our settings, you'll notice on the top right-hand corner, you still have access to toggle profiles. So in order to follow along, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our team profile is selected. So if you guys are seeing personal up here, you just want to make sure you're clicking on team. And then you'll notice it will kind of pop over to our team profile for us. Once you guys have confirmed you are on that team profile, I'm just going to go through this really quick. Chances are you already have this linked up, so no stress. And if you guys haven't set this up yet, don't panic. You can link this up at any point in time. So the only things I really want to address on here are going to be our Facebook portals. So you'll notice that we have Facebook post scheduling and our Facebook ads manager. Both of these are connected currently. One of the big things, if you are associated with a team, is you now have access to not only link multiple Facebook pages to your account, but you can also share access of your page with the team. What this means is if you're currently running paid ads or you're posting to Facebook through Command, you may have been doing this through your personal portal, you're doing it on your personal Facebook page or essentially your personal business Facebook page. This now allows you to share this with your team. So this is huge. This is brand new. So for this, you'll notice that she does have one account linked. She can click on connect more, which will allow her to link more up. One thing I will say is if you guys are connecting social media accounts, specifically Facebook, for some reason, Firefox, the browser, does not work 100% of the time. So if you are logging into Command to specifically add another Facebook account, whether it's for posts or for ad manager, I recommend using Chrome or Chrome Incognito because it seems to work beautifully. For some reason, the pop-up, that little login screen for Facebook, when you go to click connect more on Firefox, it tends to give you an error message. So don't panic. It just hop over to Chrome and it will allow you to link that up. Once you do have a profile linked, whether you have one or multiple, and again, this is going to be great if you're handling marketing for a team, you can add multiple to your account. You guys now have access to click on manage, and you'll notice that you can actually share that with your team. So this is huge. This was not an option prior. So you guys now have access to share that profile with the team. All that means is that if you're sharing it with the team, other agents on your team, as long as they have enhanced or unlimited permissions set up, they will be able to assist you with posting. They'll be able to assist you with running ads. You will also be able to post through that portal. So in other words, if you are running a Facebook ad and you're trying to target your database instead of targeting new leads, this will allow you to run it through the team and actually target team leads instead of just your contacts that were previously sitting in your personal database. So this is kind of a cool upgrade. So just keep that in mind. This is where you guys can go to link that up, because we are going to be going over how to set that up today as well. The next thing I want to address in regards to your settings is if you click on your command settings, you're going to notice that you have both a campaigns tab and a smart plans tab. We're going to be going through both of those really quick, just so you guys can see what is in here. So underneath your command settings, we have campaigns, and this is going to allow us to select our default campaign accounts. This is going to be huge. So once we click on that, this pulls up the profiles that are currently linked to command. So in other words, as of right now, Connie and her team are all using the J&L Designs Facebook page. There are no other accounts connected. However, from here, you have access to connect an account. It's exactly where we just were. It does the exact same thing. But you guys have access to add another account. And then you can also select the default. Keep in mind, selecting the default account for your social media platform will only be available under your team profile. So if you were to toggle back to your personal profile, it would completely remove this portion. This is only for teams. That being said, you can come in here and you can add in a Twitter account. You guys have access to link up Twitter for posts as well as for running ads. You also have Google Ads. This is in the process of launching. It seems to be available on some accounts, but it's not 100% active yet. But for Facebook and Twitter, you guys can come in here and add those in. You can also select your default command mail, which is huge as well. And zoom out so you guys can see everything. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. So if you guys can see on your screen, you'll notice that you have multiple options here. So Connie on her own account has herself set as the default, but you'll notice that she also has the two other agents that are on her team as options. So in other words, if you are assisting with marketing and maybe you don't want anything to be coming directly from you, maybe you're set up as an administrator, you can actually come in here and select the agent that you want to be your default on any of your marketing, which is fantastic. So that's something that I do recommend checking out. This is going to be something that only Unlimited and Enhanced will have access to. So if you are set up as standard permissions, you would need to have that adjusted by your Rainmaker in order to gain access to this portal. The next one is our smart plans. Very similar idea. We can set up designated agents. So for designated agents, if you guys have ever used smart plans, those are those automated drip campaigns through command. They are fantastic. If you haven't yet used them, we're going to go over kind of how to tweak those today as well. But in order to get those started, I recommend having your Rainmaker pop in here and just see how everything is set up. So the way that smart plans are used is they are, again, automated campaigns. They will allow you to send out emails. They can create tasks. They can send out mass text messaging. So they're fantastic because it's something that you can add a contact to, and they kind of take over from there. So they'll, send out the message and then wait 3 days and send out an email, wait a week, send out a task, however you have it set up. What this portal allows you to do, and again, we're right under command settings, smart plans, designated agents. You're going to see how that information is going to be delegated out. So starting with tasks, Connie has this set up. So any task that is created on a team smart plan will automatically go to whoever is assigned to that contact. So in other words, if she has a bunch of team leads that she had captured from another platform, their Zillow leads, and she added them into her team database and essentially assigned them out to agents on her team, what would happen is the owner is still the team for that lead, but it allows this person, once they're assigned, to actually get those tasks from Smart Plans. She also has email and text messaging set up. The way that it's set up currently is any email or text message that is sent from a team Smart Plan will be branded with the Rainmaker's contact information. This will completely depend on how you guys want to work with marketing within the team. You can leave it as the Rainmaker, or you can change that to contact assignee. If you are planning on running a lot of your contacts or most of your database out of that team platform, my recommendation would be to update this to contact assignee. What that means is as agents on your team start to add their contacts to the team database and they start to utilize those team Smart Plans, those Smart Plans are going to go out with their branding. So if you have John Smith on your team and he has 50 contacts he adds to a Smart Plan, the footer of those emails are going to be his information from his marketing profile. It's going to use his command mail allowance. It's going to use his Twilio account to send out text messages, rather than doing everything under the Rainmaker. Because what that would mean is any contacts that John Smith adds to a team Smart Plan, they are going to be sent out with the Rainmaker's branding. So in other words, those emails are going to be branded with the Rainmaker information. They are going to come from the command mail of the Rainmaker. They're going to use the Rainmaker's Twilio allowance. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I would recommend just checking to see how this is set up before you start bulk adding contacts to any team Smart Plans that you guys have set up. Same thing for SMS, contact assignee versus Rainmaker. And then we also have our Rainmaker. This will generally be whoever the Rainmaker is on your team. However, there are some mega teams that may have more than one Rainmaker. That's where you'll see that drop down option. So if you guys do have more than one Rainmaker on your team, you can select the default of whoever you want that to be. Generally, each Rainmaker would just select their own name. And then if you guys are not seeing this section, that's because you unfortunately do not have high enough permissions to see it. This is something that only the Rainmaker will have access to. So you would need to log in as the Rainmaker in order to see this specific section. The next section that I just want to touch upon really quick is going to be under our Connect settings. I'm going to expand that. This is going to be our marketing profile. So for your marketing profile, this is likely very familiar to most of you. Go ahead and click on that. Chances are this has been set up. We actually take care of setting this up if you are a newer agent or if you recently joined Keller Williams. We take care of putting this all together for you. But what I do want to go over are some of the things that you can tweak when you are a part of a team. In other words, just making sure that your team branding is set up properly. That being said, every single agent, admin, transaction coordinator, marketing coordinator, if you guys have your own login for Command, if you are not using somebody else's on the team, you have a marketing profile. This is something that I would highly recommend setting up, as it is going to allow them to not only add you to the website, which is something we'll also be going over, but it's also going to allow you to essentially set up marketing. So in other words, if you do send something out, if you decide to add your own database, it's going to allow you to kind of have your information there. It's also going to brand your information to the team website, or really to anybody's website on the team if they choose to add that information. So having this set up, even if you may not be a practicing real estate agent, if you're not practicing real estate yourself, it will still be beneficial. You'll notice that the way Connie has hers set up is they essentially kind of shared this account for a while, her and Leisha. So that being said, they have the team photo as the main photo. If you are using your individual account, so in other words, there are a lot of teams that each agent is using their own login, they're running their own transactions, they're essentially handling their own marketing. You can do an individual picture here. It doesn't have to be a team photo. We do see this commonly with spouse teams. So if you are working with a spouse or maybe a parent or a sibling, If you want to kind of share a command account, that's completely fine as well. So that is an option. You guys can just use a team photo as your main photo. You'll also have a section for team logo. If you don't have a team logo yet, that's completely fine. What we do recommend is adding something there because it will essentially show as no image found on your marketing if this is left blank. And this actually goes for individual agents as well. If there is no team logo added, it will show no image found on smart plans and email campaigns that are sent out. So as kind of a workaround, you can either add the general KW logo, or you can add the realtor logo, which has kind of become a little bit more popular. You can just add that in here and it will show up on all of your marketing for you. One thing you will notice for the team logo, it looks very distorted in this section. However, it will auto correct itself on all of the marketing except for the mobile app. So in regards to all of the marketing, it will stretch itself out and it will essentially look the way that it's supposed to look. Her logo is very narrow. It's a narrow rectangle. So if you guys happen to have a square photo, you're golden. But if you are working with a logo that is maybe not a perfect square, it will automatically correct itself on all of your marketing, except for the consumer app. It will look like this. So just keep that in mind as well. Underneath that, we have details. One thing I do want to address, if you guys are associated with a team, you do have access to essentially manipulate the first and last name to have multiple first and last names. So if you guys were working with a spouse and you were looking to kind of run everything through one command account, you may want to put, spouse number 1, spouse number 2, first name and last name in both sections. So like first name, last name of spouse number 1, first name, last name of spouse number 2. If you are using your individual account, you would just put your normal first and last name. License numbers, one thing I do want to address is if you guys are practicing real estate and you are doing this on a spouse team, if you're sharing an account and your board requires that your license number is on everything, both of your license numbers need to be added here just for compliance. So keep that in mind as well. We also have team name. This is where you're just going to want to put your team name. This will automatically populate on all of your branding for you, which is great. Then you have your professional job title and designations. You guys can plug those in as well. You have military affiliation. This is relatively new. You now have access to select that as well. And then we have our bio. So for your bio, one thing that I do want to mention is make sure that it's formatted the way that you want it to show up on all of your marketing. So you'll notice here that she does have it set up with line breaks. So if you do want line breaks between paragraphs, just make sure that that is how it's showing up here, and it will automatically sync out to all of your marketing as such. For the mobile and office number, this is a question that we get regularly from teams. There is only allowance for one number in both of these sections. If you try to put 2 numbers, it will allow you to do it here. However, anytime you create a landing page or you try to create a custom page or your footer is created, it essentially tweaks how it looks. So it's just something to keep in mind. My recommendation would be to stick to one number in both the mobile and office location. Both of these are required. That being said, you'll also notice they're not formatted. The system is going to take care of formatting for you, which is great. So it's automatically going to add the parentheses and it's going to add the dashes, and it's also going to make it clickable from a mobile device automatically. So you don't have to worry about that. It will happen all on its own. In regards to these numbers, if you are in a location that does require the office number to be added to your marketing, just make sure you're doing that for compliance. You can also touch base with your broker to confirm that. We also have email. This also works best if you only have one email added here. We have seen teams essentially put like a slash or a dash and put an additional email. However, that does remove the clickability. So if someone is on a mobile device, they will not be able to click that. It also tends to merge in with other fields, and it ends up looking a little bit wonky when you look at any of the marketing. So again, recommendation, stick with one email here. If you do decide to create, say, a team email where everybody has access to it, that's something that you can add on here if you're looking to share an account. But overall, the way that the team platform is set up, a lot of agents are using their own command platform for marketing, and they're essentially just making sure that team branding is added. We also have the website. This is something that I definitely want to dive into with you guys. So in regards to how the KW website is set up currently, if you guys are looking to share a website, keep in mind whoever owns that website. So for example, this website is owned by Connie. This is something that was created through her command platform. If everybody on the team decides that they are going to use this URL, this website as the team website, that is completely fine. Just keep in mind that every single lead captured is actually going to go into Connie's personal database. It's not going to go into the team database. As of right now, in order to have leads added into the team database, it does need to be done manually. So if you guys are sharing a website and leads are coming through, they are not going to automatically go into the team database. This is actually a brand new update. They will automatically go into the personal database. So again, this is where I kind of mentioned it earlier. A lot of agents are updating their branding on their marketing profile, and they're essentially going ahead with their own website, which we're going to be going into that as well. But if you guys do decide to share a website, completely fine. Just keep in mind they are going to go to that personal database, and they would then need to be manually moved into that team database if you're looking to share those leads. Another thing for the website, this is just in regards to formatting. Keep in mind, if your website ends in .kw.com, it will not work with www. So if you guys are purchasing branding, business cards, maybe you're just putting your email, your website on your email signature, just make sure that you're not adding www. For the command website URL, as it will pull up an error. Another thing for this specific section, for your website, you do want to make sure that it has HTTP or HTTPS in front of it. If you're unsure which option your website uses, if it ends in .kw.com, it's always HTTPS. If you purchased a custom domain that ends in .com, .net, .org, whatever platform you guys purchased, for that, you would want to copy and paste the URL up top, and you'll notice it will automatically plug that in for you. So it may be HTTP, it may be HTTPS. It depends on the domain and whether you purchase the security certification tip certificate. So if that hasn't been done, let us know. We can always take a look at it and confirm which one should be on your marketing. Underneath that, we have brokerage information. Most of this information will be added by us if we've set you up. If you guys are coming to this section just now for class, or if you're watching the recording and you're seeing that none of your marketing profile is set up, let us know, because we can always assist with getting that going for you as well. We also have a questionnaire available that we can shoot over to you via email, and we can essentially get your entire marketing profile set up for you. So if you guys are seeing everything is missing, or if something is missing and you need it, let us know. As far as your brokerage logos, we have all of those on file as well. Not every brokerage will have its own logo. Some use the General Keller Williams logo, but if you know that your office does have a logo and you need it, let us know and we can always send it over. Then you have your market center information on the right. One thing I will say really quick is just make sure this is your market center information. Make sure it's not personal. So in other words, your home address should not be populating here. And B, make sure that it is your market center. So if you just transferred, or maybe you're working out of a business center instead of a market center or a satellite office, or you're with a mega team that has their own address, make sure that this address makes sense, because it is going to be on all of your marketing. Underneath that, we have compliance. As far as compliance go, this will be the same if you are an individual agent or a team agent. As far as legal footer text goes, you guys can add in whatever your brokerage decides. You do not need to have each office is independently owned and operated, as that is a standard legal footer. So that will already be there. This is actually duplicated on her website currently. So just kind of keep that in mind. You don't have to have that there. Some boards and brokerages may have specific text they do want added. If that's the case, this is where you guys can add that in. You also have your legal footer links, which is pretty cool. You guys actually have access now to add in a link title and the URL, and this will add it as a legal footer on all of your marketing. So this will show up everywhere. This is a great workaround if you guys maybe have a vendor, or if you guys are licensed in Texas, this is where your links will go, your IABS and CPN notices. This is where you guys will plug those in. We also have legal footer images. These are very, very tiny. They're only 128 by 48 pixels, which is kind of like a little thumbnail, but it will allow you to get that image on your footer if you guys are in an area that does require something. State of Maine requires the Maine IDX logo and equal housing, but I haven't seen any other state or board require anything. We have seen agents use this for designation logos, which is a great idea. So if you guys have obtained additional designations, whether it's bold or whatever designation you guys have obtained over the years, you guys can also plug those logos in here. Last but not least, we have our social media. You'll notice here that Connie does have the team profiles here. So they actually have team business pages created. If you guys are not yet creating team business pages, that's completely fine. I would recommend adding your personal business page though, not just your personal Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I would make sure that they are set up as business pages, because again, all of this information is going to be shared with your marketing. So you do want to make sure that they are essentially real estate geared. Then you have YouTube and LinkedIn. LinkedIn will automatically be business, so you're golden there. YouTube, I would just make sure that it's, again, associated with real estate. If you guys are doing open houses or walkthroughs, this is a great way to get that on your marketing, to plug in your YouTube channel URL for that. You also have Google Analytics at the bottom. This will track your website or track traffic for your website. This is a great tool to set up. There is a link in the notes that I shared with you guys that goes over how to set that up as well, if you haven't done it yet. So if you guys do want to do that, that's hyperlinked in the notes for you. If you guys did make any tweaks at all, make sure that you're clicking save all the way down at the bottom. And then last but not least, all the way up at the top of that page, once you guys save it, you guys are going to see a little section that says use my information to brand my agent site. You're going to want to make sure that this is toggled to being a green bubble. If you are seeing that as gray, all it means is all of the information that you guys just put together here is not yet being shared with command. So you do want to make sure that this is populating as a green bubble. This is going to brand your website. It's going to brand all of your campaigns and your smart plans, your mobile app. It kind of allows all of the information you just took the time to put together to be syndicated out, so you don't have to retype everything. Once you guys have confirmed that is green, the last thing I want to go over under settings is going to be right at the top under general settings. And you're going to see team management and default account. So default account, this is just allowing you guys to select your default profiles. So again, when you guys are on a team and you log into command, it's just going to pull up whichever profile you guys have selected the second you log in. Keep in mind, it's not locking you into anything. You can always toggle back and forth. But if you are primarily working out of the team profile, maybe it drives you nuts to have to toggle back and forth every time you log in. You can essentially select the team profile and it will just automatically log you into the team profile upon logging into command. Underneath that, we have our team management. So team management is exactly what it sounds like. This is going to show you who is currently associated with your team. It's also going to show you the role. This is the role that the market center administrator in your office has given them. This cannot be edited. However, keep in mind, it is solely vanity. So in other words, it doesn't influence really anything on the account. It's essentially just showing you how they were added into the team tool. On the right, we also have our permissions. You'll notice here that the Rainmaker does not have a drop-down list. You cannot change a Rainmaker's permissions. They are automatically locked in with unlimited. They also have additional permissions in regards to like opportunities. They have additional access that even somebody with unlimited will not be able to see because they are set up as the Rainmaker. So that's something to keep in mind. We do see a lot of spouse teams that may function out of their own command accounts. Just because you are set up with unlimited permissions does not mean that you match the Rainmaker permissions. This is different. It essentially just gives you as close to the Rainmaker's permissions or as close as to Rainmaker's access as possible. You also have enhanced and standard. Just as a heads up, standard permissions are blocked out of most of the marketing aspects, just to kind of keep in mind. So if you do plan on running most of your database out of the team, I would highly suggest considering bumping everybody up to at least enhanced. I'm also going to show you guys the breakdown really quick. So if you guys do have access to this section, you'll have access to click on this. If not, I will hyperlink the notes for you guys again, and I'll pull them up just to show you. But if you guys want to see which permission kind of covers which section, we can go ahead and click on the permissions section on the top right. And then you'll see you get kind of like a brief synopsis on what each section covers, but you also have a full permissions breakdown. And this is huge because it's going to literally break down every single thing. It's going to check off what people have available. Team management, it's only unlimited contacts. You guys have access to, import contacts or lead pool. Everybody on a team will have access to that. It just kind of breaks everything down. Smart plans. So standard only has access to view them and nothing else. So that's just something to keep in mind. They won't be able to add contacts or remove contacts from smart plans, which may cause an issue if you guys are running everything through the team. So that's why I just recommend you guys take a peek at this when you have a chance. But again, this is something only the Rainmaker will have access to edit. They will have to log into their account. As far as the notes go, if you guys are watching the recording, right in the bio for this YouTube, there will be a clickable link for Google Notes. Or Google Doc, and you'll see here once you click on that, I also have understanding permissions, which is a tip, and then the KW Answers team permission level details. This is exactly what we just looked at, but everybody will have access to it. Just in case you guys do need that, it is here for you. And then as far as understanding permissions, I just kind of go over the different types of permissions, and then I show you what it looks like on each account, just so you guys can see exactly how that functions as well. Go back to command. So if you guys do need these tweaked, which I know a lot of Rainmakers are unaware this is here until they kind of dive into the team account. So if you guys are set up as standard and you're noticing that you don't have access to a lot of the platforms, just touch base with your Rainmaker and they can tweak that for you. I'll go back to all team members. So keep in mind, again, this is where your team is essentially going to populate. So this is also a great thing to keep in mind if you just added somebody, or if you maybe just added an admin or whatever, your office added somebody to win more to the team tool. This is where they will show up once everything is live. So in other words, if you're not seeing them here yet, their platforms are still launching. Once they are populating here, it means when they log in under their own account, top right-hand corner, they'll have the two profiles just like you do. So that pretty much covers our settings. The next thing I want to jump into is going to be campaigns. And I just want to break down the different campaigns that you guys now have access to as teams. So if you guys haven't jumped into this yet, it's going to be the Megahorn. Click on campaigns. And they were running updates this morning, so it was going a little bit slower than usual. So I'm just going to give it a second to load. I'm also on the Firefox browser, which tends to work best. I feel when I'm jumping through most of the command platforms, the only thing that Firefox does seem to prevent is linking Facebook to command. Everything else, it seems to work a little bit quicker, but you guys can use whichever browser works for you. So once our campaigns section loads, one of the huge things I want to mention, because this is going to just help explain what teams will have access to. If you click on any one of these tabs, anyone, and you have an option to toggle back and forth, it means that you have essentially two profiles on that section. So for example, like designs, if you guys were to go into designs, you only have a personal section. As of right now, there is no team allowance for designs. So any design you create will automatically stay under your personal profile. But you'll notice with campaigns now, and again, this is brand new, you can now toggle back and forth between personal to team. A huge note to make with this: if you have previously run ads, you've previously sent email campaigns or direct mailers, maybe you've done social posts, if you did them under your personal account, they will remain there. These accounts are completely separate. They're under the same login, but they are night and day. So if you log into your personal one and you're seeing a couple of things under paid ads or emails, direct mailers, and you're not seeing them under the team, that is why. So if you happen to lose something, if you maybe set up a draft paid ad and you're not seeing it, try swapping the profile. Chances are it's just under that other profile. But I do want to make sure, if you guys are following along, just make sure that you remain on that team profile for this section. So once your campaign's dashboard loads, you're going to notice the first thing: you have welcome to team campaigns, you have access to connect accounts and select default accounts. Both of these buttons are going to bring us exactly to where we just were. So your connect accounts is going to drop you in right under your settings. And then you have your select default account, which is going to bring us exactly where we just were under that settings portal. So if you guys are looking to kind of double check that, you can always access it here as well. It's the exact same route. One thing that I do want to address when you guys are adding accounts, keep in mind that you do also need to make sure that you are going through settings and clicking on that manage option to share it with the team. So even if you maybe linked your account previously and you've been running paid ads through your personal profile, make sure that under settings, you do click on manage and share it with your team if you're looking to run anything through the team. So that will essentially enable that for you. So the first tab, we have paid ads. As far as paid ads go, the beauty of this is the process is the exact same. However, once you have set up those default accounts and you've shared, maybe you're sharing Facebook profiles now, or maybe you've hired on like a marketing consultant that's going to be helping with paid ads, as long as those are all connected through that settings portal that we had just gone through, the actual setup process is the exact same. We do also have a tip video. I want to say it's about 25 minutes long. It goes over exactly how to set this up, how to delegate leads, how to make sure that you're adding the information properly, which I did also hyperlink in the notes for you guys. It's right under the campaign section. So I would recommend taking a look at that. But as far as the actual process goes, it's the exact same, which is fantastic. The one thing I do want to mention, just in case you guys have already started diving into this, for payments, you'll notice if you have already added a credit card to your personal profile, there will not be one under the team. You do need to re-add that because, again, they are two separate profiles. That being said, you can use the same credit card. That's completely fine. It just needs to be re-added. Just because you are also a part of a team does not mean that anybody on your team will have access to this. This is 100% your credit card, your payment. It's going to be linked to only your profile. I just wanted to make that clear because I know that question has come through as well. In regards to our emails, pull that up really quick. So for emails, this is fantastic because this used to be something that if you guys wanted to send out an email campaign, you had to move all of your contacts back to your personal database in order to send out a mass email if you were functioning out of that team database. That no longer has to happen. So this is really cool. From here, you guys have access to do the exact same thing that you did under your personal profile, which again is pretty neat. You have access to do your email lists, and you'll notice that as long as you have enhanced permissions or higher, so standard permissions will not have access to this. As long as you have enhanced permissions or higher, you'll have access to go into email lists and you'll be able to create email lists. You'll be able to edit them. You'll be able to trash them. You essentially have full access to this. As far as MailChimp and Command Mail, that remains the same. And your email will also remain the same, which is kind of cool. So this is very similar to your personal profile. So if you have sent out email campaigns, the process is the exact same. The only difference is now when you come in here, if you go, and I'll make an edit to this one, if I go to create a list or make an edit to a list, If I start looking for contacts, it's going to pull the contacts from the team database. And again, it's going to pull any contact with that tag from the team database. So in other words, if you guys are sharing contacts and you're marking them as buyer, or you're marking them as open house lead, or whatever it may be, if someone comes in here and creates a list based on the tag, it's going to pull every single person tagged with that tag, whether you are the owner or not. So that is something to keep in mind. My personal recommendation, if you are looking to only email your contacts when you're sending this out, as you're adding contacts to the team database, I would recommend creating a tag that's your name. I generally recommend this anyways, just because it keeps things organized. If you were to ever leave the team, or if you ever just needed to, pull your contacts up really quick in the team profile, you only wanted to see yours. It's just another way to just make sure that they're linked to you. So just a recommendation, not required, but you can essentially set up a tag as your name. Or I have also seen teams creating like buyer tags dash the agent's initial. That way they each have their own buyer tag. It's completely up to you. You don't have to go that far. If you're using a tag that has your name, you would essentially be able to select your name on here and then whatever other tag you wanted as well. So that's completely fine. But just something to keep in mind. You guys can, again, save these lists. I'm going to cancel that one. Didn't edit it. But you guys have access to create lists. You guys have access to edit lists. Again, this is completely based on your permission. So if you're set up as standard, you won't be able to see this. So don't panic. It just means that your permission is set up as standard currently. We also have access to our direct mail. This process is pretty much the exact same as well. The only difference is when you guys are targeting an audience, you previously had access to target an audience or target your database. Same thing. Now, when you go to target your database, it will give you access to the team contacts. So this is really cool. Again, this is something we used to have to move contacts back and forth from profile to profile in order to send out emails and direct mailers. That's no longer the case. So you guys now have access to target your team database. Same thing does apply as your email list. So keep in mind, if you are targeting a database for a postcard, it is allowing you access to the entire team database. So that is something just to, again, keep in mind. If you're trying to only target your contacts, that's where tagging your contacts with your name is going to come into play. Last but not least, on campaigns, we have our social posts. So social posts are exactly the same as running them through your personal database. If you guys haven't done this yet, we do have a tip video that goes over kind of how to set that up if you guys want to schedule it out for a later date. But this is a fantastic tool that I feel like a lot of agents don't realize it exists. This allows you guys to post directly to your business page, your business Facebook page. You can also do posts directly to Twitter, and you guys can schedule them. So you can set them all up at the beginning of the month and then just let them post throughout the month. I've also seen agents go as far as to set them up based on like birthday announcements, or offices have done birthday announcements, or teams will do like open houses that they have scheduled out 30 days, or holidays, anything along those lines. You guys can come in here, set up a post, and it will automatically go to your business page. That way you don't have to log in the day of in order to get that added. So this is kind of a cool aspect. The beautiful part in regards to it being linked to teams is now, if you guys do have that marketing coordinator or that administrative assistant that is helping you guys with posting or any sort of social media management, they can now have your account essentially linked, and it'll have access to post for you. So it's one less thing that each person has to do on an individual basis. This is going to allow you guys to kind of delegate that out to your administrative assistant without them having to physically log into your Facebook, which is going to be very helpful. If you guys do come across any questions in regards to the campaigns, definitely let us know. We do have tip videos that go over each individual tab on how to create them, how to set them up. So we can also send those over to you as well. So the next thing I want to go over is the website, because there's actually been a really big change in regards to how team websites function. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on the consumer option right at the bottom. And I just want to go over kind of like the options that you guys have as being a part of a team and what that looks like from a website standpoint. You will notice when we click on our consumer section that our team platform goes away. That being said, every platform that you guys are given for marketing, so for example, your consumer app, your website, when you guys create any sort of landing pages, all of the leads that these platforms are capturing are automatically going to your personal database. That is something to keep in mind. Previously, that was not the case. Previously, if you were using the Rainmakers account, you had access to create landing pages, and any leads captured by a landing page under a Rainmakers account, they were automatically going to the team database. That is no longer the case. So if you guys are planning on sharing a website, if you're planning on using one website for the entire team, moving leads around will need to be done manually. And I did hyperlink an article in the notes that I will share again at the end of class. And keep in mind, if you guys are watching the recording, this is all hyperlinked right in the bio of the YouTube video for you guys. But it does break down how to manually move those over. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys know if you are sharing a website and leads are coming in, they are going to go into a personal database, but they can be moved over to the team database and essentially shared with your team. One thing that I do want to go over is just kind of how to add your team information to your website. And this is something that every single person on the team will have access to do. So if you do decide that you want to use your individual agent websites, that's completely fine. You guys can all add this page, which will essentially market the team. So once we're on our consumer tab, I'm just going to go ahead and click on create a new page in the top right-hand corner. And then once you guys get this pop up, I'm just going to go ahead and leave my on my agent site selected and then click create page. Once this comes up, I'm just going to label this one meet the team. That way I can find it when I go to make it live. Anytime you guys create any website page, I always recommend giving it a title. It's just going to allow you to keep it organized. That way you know what page it is when you go to make this live on your website. Once I've given the page a title, on the right-hand side, you guys are going to see several widgets are available. I'm going to go ahead and use they removed, there we go, our meet the team. They just changed it. It used to be meet the team. So we're going to use the team widget. And again, this is something that only agents on a team are going to have access to. Individual agents will see this widget. However, it won't allow them to actually use it because it doesn't have any team information to pull. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop that on my page. And you'll notice here, it just kind of gives you an idea in regards to what it's about to pull over. Team name, it's going to pull photos for you. It's going to pull contact information for you. And it's essentially going to allow you to market your team on this page. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to configure the widget on the bottom right-hand side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click on team. This is going to allow me to adjust the widget that we're using to meet the team page. From here, we have our headline. You guys can leave that as is, or you guys can put the team name in here, whatever you guys want. If you guys have a team name, you can put meet the blank team, whatever you guys see fit. You also have intro text that you guys can put a little synopsis in regards to maybe like a catchphrase, or if you guys have a slogan, or why work with your team, or what areas you cover, whatever you'd like, how long you guys have been in real estate, just a brief kind of overview. You guys have up to 200 characters here. Underneath that, we have the team. So once you guys click on that, generally agents will only be associated with one team. So that's the only one that should be showing up. If you are associated with more than one team, maybe you're an expansion team, so you are linked up with multiple, you would want to either do one page per team, or maybe you would want to use two separate websites, completely up to you guys, but just keep that in mind. You will have access to any team that you're associated with here. So I'm going to go ahead and select your team. Underneath that, we have our agents that are active on the team. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the agents that I do want added to this page. And this is a perfect example. If you are in the process of maybe somebody is leaving the team, this is how you can adjust this as well. If you guys are already using this page, you do have access to just not check somebody's name off. Or if someone is maybe in the process of joining the team and their profile just hasn't been set up yet, so it's pulling up blank information, you can leave them unchecked until they are set up, until they're good to go. That's completely fine as well. None of this is set in stone. It can be edited at any time. So now once I have them selected, I can go ahead and click on edit and reorder. The beauty of edit and reorder is it's also going to allow you to change the role. So maybe Leah was added as an administrative assistant, but she's actually a marketing consultant. So you can add that in, or marketing assistant. You can add that in. Leisha's added in as a lead associate. Maybe you want to change that to like buyer's agent and then have the team leader Rainmaker set up as listing agent. You guys have access to tweak that. You also have access to adjust the order in which the agents will populate on the website. So you guys can tweak this around as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. A lot of times we are asked how to change the role. This is how you can change it. It is, again, just a vanity role. It's not playing into any of the permissions or anything like that other than the Rainmaker. So once you guys make any tweaks or adjustments here, I'm just going to go ahead and click save. And it does usually take a second to load. And then it will plug the information in for you. So in regards to the team page, the first thing, obviously, if you have a team photo as your main photo, and you are using this page, that is the photo it's going to pull from. So that's something to keep in mind. You'll also notice that the contact information that pulls over to here, it's pulling from the marketing profile, which that's what we had just gone through. So if you are pulling somebody up, maybe it's showing like no image available and it has no information. All that means is their marketing profile likely has not been set up yet, which is completely fine. It can be done at any point in time, and then this page can just be refreshed and it will pull all of that information over. It does not update automatically. So if you do add somebody to your team, make sure that you are manually refreshing this. We can also help with that, but just make sure that that is being adjusted, because it will not pull over updates from the marketing profile automatically. It does need to be refreshed. Once you guys have that information populating the way that you want it to, we're just going to go ahead and click on Save Changes on the top right-hand corner. And then you should get a pop-up essentially asking you if you want to publish this page. We're going to go ahead and click yes. That way we can make it live on our website. And then it's going to automatically bring us where we need to be for this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Page in the bottom left-hand corner. And then I have my Meet the Team page right at the top. This is also why it's very helpful to label them. Just in case you don't give it a title, it makes it a little bit harder to locate it down the line. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Continue. And then from here, I'm just going to call this one Meet the Team. And then for my slug, I'll do the same thing. Meet the Team. For your title, just keep in mind, however you have that title populating, whether you have capital or maybe you put dashes, that is exactly how it's going to show up on the drop-down list. So that's going to be the title of the page on your drop-down list of your website. For your slugs do not allow spaces or special characters. So in order to recognize a space, you can put a dash. That way it's not merged and jumbled into kind of like one mess of a word that will allow it to kind of break it down a little bit. And then for SEO, you can put like Meet the blank team, Yates and Maxwell properties. That's what their team is. Anything along those lines. So I'm gonna put that in. And then once you have a title, a slug, and an SEO description, it will allow you to save. You'll notice all three have the red asterisk. So they are required. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save that. You'll notice on the left-hand side, I now have this page populating here. I can drag it wherever I want it to be on my website and it will adjust for me. If you do adjust the order of pages, I just recommend clicking save afterwards just in case, because it doesn't always save automatically. Once you guys do save that, I'm going to go back to my agent site pages tab. I'm just going to show you guys what that looks like on the main page. So once you guys come back to agent site pages, your website URL is right here. Just going to open that up and I'll show you guys what that looks like really quick. Give it a second to load. So now that we've added that, Meet the Team is the first option on the tab. And this is what it will look like on your actual website. So they'll have access to get contact information. They can see the headshots. It's just a great way for you guys to market everybody on your team. And again, anybody who is associated with the team will have access to this widget. So if you guys are in the situation where you're opting to use your individual websites for lead capture, that's completely fine. You can still add this page. So it will allow you to still market that team information. Your team name will still show up. You still have your team logo showing up. But it does give you guys the opportunity to use your own website if that's the route you decide to take. Keep in mind that every lead captured, so this is where I was kind of speaking about earlier, you have the interested let's talk, which shows up on every page. You also have the contact us page. Both of these platforms will redirect leads to go to the actual personal database. And the way that they're contact us today, it was previously set up as a landing page. These also go to the personal database. So that is just something to keep in mind. I'm going to jump back to command, X out of that really quick. The last thing I just want to go over really quick is the smart plan section. And then I want to end with just showing you guys how to actually move contacts from your personal database to your team database in order to share those leads. So if you guys are using your personal website or you guys are running paid ads and leads are coming into your personal database, anything along those lines, I'm going to show you guys how to share those if that's the route that you guys decide to take. Only because I know we're going to go a few minutes over. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our smart plans. White KW, red square will give you guys all of the titles. Dive into smart plans. As far as smart plans go, the actual system is the exact same, whether you are on a team or you are on a on your personal database or personal tab. That being said, you'll notice that they are completely different as far as the actual smart plans go. So if you guys have already created, like I'm on her personal profile right now, she has these smart plans created on her personal. And if I toggle over to the team, they are different plans. So if you guys did already create custom plans, maybe on your personal platform, they would need to be recreated on the team platform if you are looking to use those for team contacts, or if you're trying to share them with anybody on your team. That being said, you guys do have the library still. So the library will be available on both portals. If you guys haven't clicked on the library yet, definitely dive into that. Another thing that I just want to mention, if you guys are clicking on smart plans and you're selecting the team name and you're getting an error message, it means that you are set up with standard permissions. Unfortunately, standard permissions do not have access to this section. They can add agents from the database portion, but they can't, no one with standard permissions can come in here. They can't make edits. They can't add or remove contacts. They can't preview the smart plans. So that's why I say if you are a team that is going to be working out of that team profile, even if it's only 50% of the time, you may want to consider adjusting team permissions to being enhanced. So if you guys haven't dove into the library yet, I'm just going to click on that just to show you guys what that looks like. This is fantastic. If you guys haven't come in here yet, definitely take a look when you have a second. You have the featured plans right at the top. So these are all plans that Keller Williams International, they're either newer or they're just plans that have been used a lot lately. You can kind of tab through. There are 8 available right now. You have your Keller Williams provided plans. So these are all provided directly through Keller Williams International. These are great to use. Just keep in mind that the plans that are provided by KWRI specifically, their editability is a little bit more limited. So these are great for someone who is less comfortable with making those manual edits, as they are going to be more generalized and essentially ready for use right when you add them to your smart plans. You also have top rated and what's new. The biggest thing that I want you guys to remember in regards to top rated and what's new, these plans were created by other offices, by other agents, your peers. They are sharing these plans with you. So you have access to essentially add this to your smart plans. However, 100% of the time, you need to make sure that you're going through what is going to be sent out prior to using a plan. If they happen to have added their cell phone number or their email address or pronouns, anything along those lines, make sure that you are double checking smart plans before you start bulk adding contacts to them. We do have a tip video that goes over this specifically, how to kind of tweak them, make them your own. So I made sure to add that to the notes as well, but I definitely recommend taking a look at that. This is also a great option if you guys have an idea for a smart plan, but you're not sure how to get it started. You guys can come in here and use the search function. So if you guys wanted like Facebook follow-up, do search. You have two here. I think most of them do dash. There we go. So you guys can actually come in here, take a look, kind of see what's available. You have access to view the steps. You have access to see what's being sent out as an email, what's being sent out as a text message. You can even just add the smart plan to your smart plans, which will make all of this editable for you. You'll have full access to make tweaks to everything, to the text, to the emails. You can adjust the delay time. You can add a task. It gives you 100% editability to this plan, and you can build on it or take away from it what you choose. So this is a fantastic tool to understand that it's there waiting for you guys. Rather than having to recreate certain smart plans, you can come in here and just kind of see what's working for other agents and build on top of that. So just wanted to make sure that you guys knew this was here. And also that you guys understand that there are two separate profiles for smart plans. So if you guys did create them under the team or under personal, they will not be available vice versa. You can essentially share the plan. However, keep in mind, if you share it, you're sharing it exactly how we just pulled these up. So in other words, everybody will have access to that plan, not just your team. We have a tip video on that as well that I'll post just so you guys have it. But I wanted to make sure you guys knew this was here. Last but not least, and I know we have covered a ton of information today, I'm going to jump into the contacts section just to show you guys how to move contacts from a personal database to a team database and essentially share those with people on your team. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my contacts icon. And this has been taking a bit to load as well. So if it does take a second, don't panic. It will load eventually. So in regards to our contacts, I'm sure if you guys are set up as a team or if you're waiting for your team platforms to go live, you will essentially have two separate databases. This is fantastic because it allows you guys to keep your contacts as organized as possible. That being said, you do have your personal database, which again is going to capture all of your leads from landing pages, your consumer app, your website, all of those platforms. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my personal database just to show you guys what that will look like really quick. So these are three contacts that are sitting in Connie's personal database as of right now. One thing I want to address, because again, this is a question that we do get frequently for teams. If you guys have leads coming in and they have the L icon, those can be moved to the team profile if you'd like. If you have leads coming in and they have the L icon and they have a green check mark, and if you guys haven't seen that yet, it doesn't look like she has any in here at the moment. But if it has a green check mark, it looks exactly like this, but it's a green circle with a white check mark. If you guys have contacts with that icon, those cannot be moved to the team profile. It actually won't let you. The reason why it's not letting you move that contact over is because that contact has signed up on one of your marketing platforms. So whether they signed up on your mobile app or they signed up on your website, it means that this consumer has created a consumer login and they have chosen you as their agent via that login. What that does is it essentially gives you what I would call Big Brother access. It's going to allow you to see the listings that they're viewing. It's going to allow them to communicate with you directly through that login, which is pretty cool. They can essentially send over listings that they're interested in with a note in regards to when they're seeing them, and you will get an alert via the bell icon, and it will also show up. I'll pull up mine just to show you guys. It will also show up here. So I used to have her linked as my mobile app. So this is actually exactly what it will look like. It will pull up exactly what they're looking for. It pulls up my favorites because I shared those with her. So she has access to all of this. If you have a lead that's added to your database with that icon and you essentially recreate it under the team, that's completely fine. Just keep in mind that it will be two separate contact profiles. They won't communicate with one another. So you can have duplicates now. In other words, if I wanted to say, add this person to a drip campaign, a smart plan under the team database, I can go ahead and snag the name and the email address and add that to my team database. That's completely fine. Just make sure that you are also maintaining the profile with the check mark. Because again, it's going to give you access to everything that they're viewing. It's going to tell you when they've logged in and out. It's going to give you all of that information. So making sure that you do maintain that contact profile as well is going to be huge. In regards to moving a contact profile over to the team database and then essentially sharing it with your team, if you have, say, maybe contacts that are coming in through a Facebook ad, or if you did an open house, or maybe you just have an Excel spreadsheet of contacts that you're trying to import and you're trying to get those shared with the team. You can do this one by one, or you can do it in bulk. I'm going to show you how to move a contact over one by one, just so you guys can see it. And then I'll also show you how to move them to lead routing in bulk. So we have one contact. Once you select it, you guys can select all of them. You can select one by one. Once you select at least one contact, you have your bulk action. And you'll notice all the way at the bottom of bulk action, you have change account. This is going to allow you to move this contact profile from your personal database to your team database. As of right now, there is no undo button for this. So keep that in mind. If you bulk move, say 150 contacts from your personal database to the team, there is no way to move those 150 contacts back. This is something that Keller Williams International is in the process of tweaking. So we are hopeful it will be an option soon. Just keep that in mind that there is no undo for this. Once I do click change account, it allows me to select the account that I'm essentially moving it over to. I would select my team one and I would click change account. And this is just going to move this contact profile over to the team account. A huge thing that will play into this. If you are set up with standard permissions, what it has been doing is it does give the ownership of that contact to the team. So keep that in mind. If you are set up as enhanced or higher, it will automatically remain your contact. It's just moving this profile from your personal database to the team database. So if you are set up with standard, it will prompt you as well, and it lets you know that it is changing ownership. So when you guys see that, it is just giving you a heads up. Enhanced permissions or higher, it's essentially just moving it over to that team profile. So I'm going to go ahead and click on change account. And then I will refresh really quick, and Scott will be over into my team account. They've been running updates on the database today. So again, it is running a little bit slow. Just in case you guys are seeing the same thing, don't panic. So you'll notice now Scott is gone. All I'm going to do is toggle over to my Yates and Maxwell. And here, actually we have two of them now, but here he is. We have two separate emails set up, and it moves him right over here for us. So the beauty of this is now once I have my contacts, say for example, all of the contacts that I use for this class, I have tagged as team class. I can go ahead and I can pull contacts that are only tagged as team class. So this is great if you guys are importing a list, you would just want to make sure that it has a specific tag. Or if you have leads that maybe you're moving over, make sure that they all have a specific tag. I still recommend adding a tag with your name. However, as long as they're organized in some way so you can find only those leads, you're golden. But I have all of my team class ones up. I can now go ahead and select all of them. And I have my bulk action. And I can now go ahead and send them to lead routing or send them to lead pool. If you guys have not yet started using lead routing, completely fine. This is something that the Rainmaker can set up for you. What it means is as you guys are essentially capturing leads as a team or adding leads to the command database as a team, it's going to delegate those leads out essentially evenly. There's a way for you guys to set it up so it will automatically route those leads out to agents on your team automatically without anybody having to manually assign them. Again, we have a quick tip video in the notes that goes over exactly how to set those up. Last week's team class also went over it during class, so that's hyperlinked for you guys in the notes as well. You also have access to send them to the lead pool. By sending them to the lead pool, what this means is it's just going to allow other agents to essentially see them, and it will allow them to assign themselves, and it just kind of gives them access to that lead specifically to assign themselves if they're going to be working with it. If you are on your team profile, you guys have lead pool right here. If you guys toggle that, it's going to pull up all of the leads that have been captured as a team. So this is going to be leads that were captured by landing pages previously, or any leads that you guys have manually moved over to lead pool. They're all going to sit right here for you guys, waiting to be assigned to somebody. If you have not yet assigned them, you can do this manually, assign to. You can also do it in bulk, which is kind of nice. You guys have access to bulk assign to. You have access, don't want to call them. You have access to essentially bulk tag them. So this is just something to kind of keep in mind, depending on how you guys want to run your database as a team. As you guys kind of start moving contacts over from your personal database to the team database, this is just something to keep in mind. The last thing I just want to touch upon really quick, because again, this is something that we get questions a lot. I'm going to X out of that. So once we pull up, I'll pull up my team class smart view. So for this one, if I wanted to say export only contacts that are tagged as team class. So for example, maybe I'm doing a mailer outside of command, or I just need their emails really quick in order to shoot something out. And I wanted to make sure that I had only them selected. If you guys use your filters to select the tags that you're looking to pull, it will pull up those contacts for you. You can then export a copy of only these contacts. And this is huge when you guys are on a team, because it's going to allow you to select who you're exporting instead of doing like a master export. This is going to export all of them, which sometimes, depending on what the size of your database is a little bit daunting. So by setting up your filters, you have access to click on the checkbox next to the name. You can select up to 500 at a time. So if you have a list of maybe 1,200 pulling up, you'll have to do this process 3 times, but you can select up to 500 at a time. And then you'll be able to actually select bulk action and then export. This is going to export a copy of the leads that are selected. So again, you can only do up to 500 at a time. So if you are looking to do like 1,200, it would just be 3 separate exports. But once you click on that export button, it usually takes 1 second. It just says your export was successful. Please check your notifications. I always refresh because it does take a second for it to show up. And then once it loads, it will be right under your bell. So tap to download. So if you guys are looking to export a copy of contacts that are specifically tagged as something, or maybe you're trying to pull up, if you do filters, if you're trying to pull by ownership, you wanted to export only contacts that were owned by Leah, or contacts that are only assigned to Leah, you needed a copy of them to scrub them, or you just wanted a hard copy of them. That's how you guys can filter and then export those. It just needs to be done 500 at a time. And then the last thing I wanted to go over is if you guys are manually adding a contact, which we have seen this specifically, usually a Rainmaker, if they have a couple of contacts that maybe they came into, whether they were somebody they met in person or from an open house, maybe they're manually adding a couple of these people in. You do also have access to manually add a contact and send it directly to the lead routing portion. So if you guys are doing that, I'll show you guys really quick. For this, we would just go ahead and give them a name. And then I'll put in an email address. And then underneath that, you have an option to select a lead source, which generally you would want to select whatever the lead source was. So I don't know if open house is on here. It is. So select open house. And then we also have right here, assign, assignee, and lead routing options. So you can either assign this instantly. So for example, maybe you met this person at an open house and they're looking to buy, and Leah is your buyer's agent on your team. Maybe you'll automatically select it to Leah, completely fine. You also have options to send it to lead pool or send it to lead routing. Lead routing just means that that route that you have set up, as long as it matches one of the sources, it will automatically route it out, depending on who's up next, depending on what type of lead route that you have set up. There are a ton of options there for you guys, or you can send it over to lead pool. All of these are options to essentially set this up manually. And then once you do that and you click on create, it's going to automatically put that into motion for you. So this is something that I just want to make sure you guys know is available, because it will definitely help out when you guys start adding in leads, especially if you guys are using that lead routing portion. Next out of that. If you guys do kind of start to play with this platform and you guys have any specific questions, definitely let us know. There are so many options available now for the Teams functions. They are consistently adding new features for you guys. They're consistently tweaking everything. So if you guys do come across something, or maybe there's something specific you're looking to do and you're just unsure what the next step will be, definitely let us know. We can always take a look and just kind of troubleshoot and see what the best route would be in order to accomplish that. But that pretty much covers everything. If you guys were here for last week's class, it's already available on YouTube. And if you guys haven't had a chance yet to watch it, it is on the notes that will be hyperlinked right underneath. That is our team class from 923. So you guys still have access to it. And if you guys need anything else, just let us know. And I appreciate you guys coming to class.